So here is our book this month for March. This is To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast. It has some really nice gold foiling on the cover. Inside we have the same bird pattern in the pages. And on the sides, or the pages, we also have some beautiful birds and like barbed wire situation across the top and the bottom. On the back it says, "Get in, get out, don't fall in love." Our description is to enter the brutal world of Enlock, a prison where the wealthy hunt the inmates for sport. The first novel in an electrifying dystopian romance series, this high-octane debut about forbidden love, found family, and a fight for survival will leave you breathless. In the city of Davidium, the law is simple. Commit a crime and your punishment is a life sentence in Enlock. Raven Thorne is Davidium's most notorious bounty hunter, living on the edge of society. But when her younger brother Jed is sentenced to Enlock, Raven will do anything to save him, even if it means getting herself arrested. Now trapped in a prison where danger lurks around every corner, Raven must use all her cunning and strength to protect Jed and herself, if she is to complete her perilous mission. But there's one obstacle she never expected. The prison guard who stirs something deep inside her. The man she should hate. The man whose true motive seems impossible to pin down. In a world where trust is a weapon and love is a liability, Raven must decide if she will risk everything to tear down a vicious system. So there we go. There is our Allurial March pick. Let's get reading. So, I had every intention of reading the first chapter of this book on camera and getting my reaction to it and talking about how I felt about it by the end of the chapter. Unfortunately, I got super sick maybe like a day or two after opening up the box from Allurial, and while I was sick and still battling it, as you can hear, I read the whole book. I absolutely devoured it. It was fantastic. It is like an adult Hunger Games situation. It's got adventure. It's got a love story. It's got post-apocalyptic vibes, very dystopian kind of situation. And also very easy to dive into the world and understand what's going on. So basically, there was a second civil war in the United States, and the United States then fractured into like a couple of different cities that run themselves as their own kind of country, their own government. And the city that our main characters are in, their idea of punishment, if you break these very strict laws, very 1984 type of laws, you go to this prison. And in this prison, you are turned basically into a contestant in a never-ending game, very similar to the Hunger Games in a way, except the contestants aren't out to hurt each other. People who are not in the prison, who are law-abiding citizens, get to come in and hunt you down. And you either don't make it, or you get to a tree and survive to get to go back to prison and continue to live your life until you're picked for the next round. I loved the female main character. Normally, I have a hard time connecting with female main characters. I find them whiny or annoying or obnoxious. This female main character, I really loved where she was coming from. I really loved the choices that she made. I appreciated how real she was. She was neither too perfect nor too imperfect, to where I felt like the decisions she was making were legitimate and real. They weren't just moving the plot forward. They were actual decisions that made sense. And that is hard to find a lot of times, especially in fantasy type novels. A lot of the decisions made by the characters are made to move the plot forward, but they don't make any sense for the character. I loved this character. The romance, however, was a little bizarre. I felt it was extremely, extremely rushed. Our male main character is one of those would burn the world for her types, which I love that trope. It's fantastic. But the romance was really, really, really quick. It was like they had one kiss in an alleyway and didn't know who each other was, and then suddenly he's ready to burn the world for her. It felt very rushed. It felt very like, where was the, what exactly did she do to make him want to suddenly risk everything for her? I don't know. However, the plot, the characters, the world itself, and ultimately the romance by the end, I absolutely cannot wait for the next book. It is a series. I don't know when the next book is coming out, but definitely pick up To Cage a Wild Bird. Wow. This is exactly what I'm looking for in my fantasies, where the plot makes sense, the world makes sense, isn't too complicated. There isn't an intense magic system that you have to learn and try to understand with a whole plethora of new vocabulary words that you suddenly have to absorb and figure out what they mean. This. Absolutely. I hope that the second one continues to make good choices based on what a character would actually do, as opposed to how do I move this plot along. Sometimes with the second books, that can get really, we'll see. I'm very excited about this. Definitely check this out. The special edition is still available on Allurial. When I checked yesterday, they are not sold out of this yet. If you want to head on over and get the very cool special edition with all the extra stuff.